Implementation overview for the Medley Science Micro RCTs. How we set up the evaluation. The first thing we ask you to do is identify a class of pupils in Year 9 or Year 10. The next thing is to complete the pre-assessment task with all the pupils in your class. You'll then enter the data into the What Worked Teachers platform, and then this will randomly allocate them into the intervention and comparator group. The intervention will then use Medley for the next 4 weeks, and the comparator group will continue to use usual revision practice techniques. The post-test is then completed at the end of the trial, and the data is then inputted into the What Worked Teachers platform. An impact report is then generated to show you how the intervention has worked in your school. If it shows promise, you can then open this up to the comparison group students. So let's look at this from a step-by-step planning approach. Step 1. Coordinate with Medley to create a teacher account on their platform for your class. Step 2. Complete the pre-assessment test with all learners. Record the marks in the Excel tracker located in the resource folder and input this into the pre-test on the trial wizard. Step 3. Using the trial wizard on the What Worked Teachers platform, randomly assign learners to the intervention and comparison group. Record their allocation in either the intervention or comparator group in the Excel tracking file. Step 4. Notify Medley of which learners are in the intervention and comparator group. This will allow Medley to temporarily disable access for the comparator group students. Step 5. For the intervention group, they will use Medley for revision for the science topic. The comparison group will continue with business as usual revision for the duration of the trial. Step 6. Complete the post-assessment test to both the intervention and comparison group. Record the marks in the Excel tracker located in the resource folder and input this into the post-test on the trial wizard. Once you've done that, you will then complete the short process evaluation. Click Analyze to generate your impact report. So the intervention. It targets Year 9 and Year 10 science who have studied the topic previously. It's delivered outside of lesson time as directed homework, and learners are expected to revise 30 minutes per week. Inside the resource folder, you will find a tracking spreadsheet which allows you to link an anonymized student ID on the What Worked Teachers platform to a student in your class. You will then record in here the allocation to whether it's control or intervention, and then your pre-test and post-test scores. Please make sure that you add your teacher name and class, and then once the allocation is done, you then share this with the team at Medley so that they can disable the accounts for the control students. So key considerations. Logistical issues need to be considered before evaluating an intervention. Access to Medley. So can you access Medley as a teacher, and do you have the learner login details? Assessment. The assessment is online, so make sure you have access to a computer room to deliver this. Access. Do all learners have access to devices at home? If not, can they access the IT in the school to revise? And then reminders. As this is set as homework, can teachers remind pupils to complete this weekly? So logistical barriers are common in any intervention delivered in schools, so it is important to consider these prior to starting. So moving on to the assessment, the outcome measure is attainment as defined by the pre-post-test assessment. The assessment is marked out of 35 and completed on the Medley platform. As both the comparison and intervention groups receive the same assessment, familiarity with this should not bias the effect size. Some further assessment guidance. Please complete the assessment under exam conditions. Allow approximately 35 minutes. Record your pre and post assessment scores on your tracking spreadsheet and add the anonymized data to the What Worked Teachers platform at the relevant stage of the evaluation. So that's the end of your implementation guidance. The next thing to do is to download your research protocol, your resource folder, and then start your trial wizard.